I know that the pandemic's been weird. I'm sure you've been spending a lot of time recruiting, but I'm also guessing you've had some free time, probably more so than you'd like. How have you been spending, this extra free time during this period?
Well, it's funny because I do try to talk to my former players or my former coaches. I talked to Stan Heath, who's now with the Orlando Magic. Jimmy came by; he was up here once, and but we've talked on the phone a little bit. Tommy and I talk on the phone. I've tried to work out a little more, get my Peloton, my bike workouts in. I've tried to spend time on Zoom with people. We're doing some of these kind of things. We do them with our team. Really trying to take an initiative now with the social injustice and how we can help our players, both white and black, to maybe get more educated, and myself, to be honest with you. And that's been cool too, because I can talk to Jimmy and what's it like in the NBA. I've got 17 to 22-year-olds. Hell, he's got 18 to 38-year-olds now. So he's got a big job in that too, and you got to go different stages in a guy's life, married, not married, having kids. So it's been interesting, but thank God those relationships from the late 80s, I think have helped me, because it gives me somebody to call on and say, what did you do? I mean, I'm still learning, right now, and I think those guys are too.
When you look at what happened yesterday with the Ivy League, they've canceled fall sports. Now it's sliding into winter sports. How much of a concern is this for you right now?
It's a concern. I think as a country, listen, the day they canceled the Big Ten tournament, we were practicing in this arena. And we're getting ready to go down to Indy, and all of a sudden they came in and said Michigan and Rutgers were warming up. They just canceled the game. 4 hours later, I had another meeting with my team because they canceled the NCAA tournament. I didn't understand it then. Didn't understand. I've never been through a pandemic. Neither have you. I got a mother in 94 that, said that polio, she went through that a little bit in the 20s, and I mean, it's hard to believe that, it's been that long since we've had this kind of a thing happen. And so, no idea how to handle it. But what I've done is I've realized that this is serious business. I've been disappointed. I'm not a political guy at all. In fact, I don't like politics personally. And I've watched the political battles, and it makes me sick, because I don't know if anybody's doing what's best. If we're not wearing masks, if we're doing this, if we're doing that, I think it's ridiculous. So I don't want to hear from the political people. I want to hear from the medical people. The medical people tell me what to do, and that's the people I'm listening to.
If there is college basketball this season, how's it going to look?
Well, it's going to look a little more empty, that's for sure, unless there's some vaccine that flies out of the sky. But I think it's going to look a little more empty. I do think it's possible. The biggest key where I think we've done an injustice, if we've acted like the kids under 25 are immune to everything, and now we're finding a lot of that is changing. And so I think they felt like they don't have to worry about it. Now we got people in their 10s and 12s and 15s and 20s dying. And I'm not trying to be alarming one way or another. People die from a lot of things, but I think we got to get our arms around this. And I think if we get our arms around it, we'll conquer it. If we don't stick together on this, could it drag into football season? Yes. Could it drag into basketball season? Yes. And it's more of a worry than it was 2 months ago. I think the realistic things, I heard the Big East might come out with something. A lot of times the Big Ten has followed things since we are considered the second best academic conference to the Ivy League. Are we going to react to that? What's happened there? That's for the presidents and the boards to figure out. That's above my pay raise and my level in a lot of ways. But I am concerned. I am thinking that this is going to be a day-to-day, week-to-week thing. it changes so fast. You know, we were all relaxing, things were going so good, and then wham. I'm anxious to see what happens a week from now, when everybody kind of, if you ask me, disrespected the virus over the 4th of July. That's my humble opinion. And if that's true, I think you're going to see a big spike here in the next week or two. If not, God bless everybody. You know, maybe it's better.
And last but not least, there's so much unknown in terms of, is there going to be a season? But there's unknown in terms of who's going to be back for you next season. How hard is it to go forward when there's so much unknown?
You know, most coaches or CEOs or anybody that's ahead of something, whether we like it or not, we're control freaks. You know, we really are. And right now, I have no control of anything. You know, I don't have control of when the NBA is going to do things. I don't have control, you know, for Xavier and Aaron, you know, Xavier from your area. And he's been so good about everything, you know, on top of everything. We've worked together. His mother's been great. But he doesn't know either, you know, and we're just trying to do the right things. But we're in uncharted waters, you know, and I mean, they keep moving the time back when these kids, now it's back to almost right before school. They're going to have to make a decision. That means a kid like Xavier is in flux all year. That means our staff is in flux with it. That means our players are. But, you know, what usually happens during these times of, you know, bizarre times, the cream usually rises to the top. He who can get through this is going to be more successful in our season. And I think a more successful human being. I really believe that. So we're going to need everybody to stay on the same page. We're going to, you know, give the freedom to Xavier to make the correct decision. Don't make a bad one. I do not think he'll make a bad one. I've had some players that I think made bad decisions. You know, we're going to look at the information the NBA gets. Now that's all been pushed back months because of the pandemic. And yet now they're starting to work on it now that they're down in Orlando. They're starting to go to phase 2, which is the draft. And hopefully we're going to get some more concrete information that will help him make his decision. It's not easy. It's not easy on him. It's not easy on me. It's not easy on the players. But we're trying to do what's best for Xavier first, the program second. And that's the way I'm looking at this. And I think that, you know, if he goes, I'm going to feel great about it because it would have been probably a good decision. If he doesn't, I'm going to feel great about that because then I get that guy back and I already know what kind of leader he is. And I think he'll have a great senior year and we'll be really good. So, yeah, you're right. It's a little confusing, but at the same time, it's what you got to go through. I mean, this is not easy for you, not easy for Jimmy Boylan. It's not easy for Tom Crane, Tom Izzo, but it's not easy for these players. Think about being 18 and not knowing whether you're going to go back to college. Think about being 18, you move out, you go to college, all of a sudden halfway through, you got to move back in with mom and dad. I mean, a lot of strange things are happening. And the guy who makes the best of it, quits complaining about it, and tries to do the best job he can do with the cards he's dealt, that's going to be the successful person.